In a surprising move, Bungie canceled their third Curse of Osiris livestream in favor of a State of Destiny 2 blog post discussing some of their priorities moving forward with the game, mostly for the short term, but also some long-term things as well. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so go grab something to eat, sit your butt down, and let's go over the short-term and sort of long-term future of Destiny 2. My thoughts are at the timestamp on the screen if you're just looking for my thoughts. There are 4 things that Bungie wanted to target for the December update, some stuff coming on the 5th and some on the 12th. They wanted to deepen rewards for advanced players, provide more player control over getting rewards, make shards useful by adding things to use them for, and then just provide fixes where possible. We're going to talk about those things first, and then the more general long-term overview. First up is the Masterwork weapon system, slated for December 12th. Masterwork weapons are basically in between legendary and exotic, an upgraded legendary weapon. Legendaries can be dropped as Masterworks, but they can also be upgraded into Masterwork. Masterwork gives you the following things. Number 1. Generates orbs of light on multi-kills with a Masterwork weapon. Number 2, grants some sort of a random rerollable stat bonus, not perk bonus, stat bonus, from a small pool of stats. And 3, tracks and displays total kills with the weapon, and you can split that in between total kills or just Crucible only. If you dismantle a Masterwork weapon, you'll get materials that can be used to upgrade another weapon into Masterwork. Raid and Trials weapons have a very high chance to be Masterwork when you earn them. Finally, there are plans to extend this to other gear and expose your kill count in more places, but that's all they have said on the topic. Next are Armor Ornaments, slated for December 5th, so that's the expansion. Armor Ornaments are being added to the game for Vanguard, Crucible, Trials, Iron Banner, the 3 factions, and the Raid Layer armor. Ornaments are unlocked by completing objectives and are account-wide, like weapon ornaments. Then, on the 12th, you'll be able to buy faction armor with legendary shards and tokens on most faction vendors, with slots unlocking as you rank up, aka get packages, and you will get credit for engrams you may have already claimed since launch. Certain weapons will be available for purchase from vendors rotating weekly. Next up is Xur. If you've ever thought, man, exotics really need to be even easier to get, well then I have some good news for you. Xur will now have a faded exotic engram for sale for 97 shards that will produce an exotic that you do not have, available once per week, although I don't know if that's per account or per character. Then, everyone's favorite from Destiny 1, 3 of Coins, is returning, although thankfully without all of the stacking nonsense. They'll basically work like a Fireteam medallion. You pop one, it lasts for 4 hours. If it lasts any longer, you call your doctor. Next, the Gunsmith on December 5th will have a few specific legendary mods for sale, rotating daily for some legendary mod components and shards. Rare mods will dismantle into Gunsmith materials, and you have a chance at legendary mod components from them as well. Rahul will sell legendary engrams for shards on the 5th, like we had in Destiny 1. Also on the 5th, a lot of reputation token changes. Daily challenge token rewards are increased. Cade treasure chests now guarantee at minimum a payout of destination tokens. Strikes drop more tokens. Destination resource tokens, aka planetary materials, have had drop rates increased 100%, and value when turned in increased by 50% for the regular and 250% for the rare ones. However, they did bump up the amount of rep required to level up for destination factions by 37% and Gunsmith by 50%. Last, for reputation tokens, Leviathan tokens can now be redeemed without completing the raid. Boo! On the 12th, almost done, on the 12th, Zavala and Shaxx will sell consumables for shards that can be used in Strikes or Crucible to give bonus rewards to everyone in the activity, which can include anything from faction tokens to a round of exotics for everyone in the match. Next, also on the 12th, exploit safeguards on chests and resource nodes have been relaxed. You should not see that happen as much anymore. Next, we're going to go into the overview, so we'll address some things not talked about just now. First, Bungie is targeting January for an update to provide better incentives to complete prestige activities. Next, private matches for Crucible are still slated for early 2018. We'll get better timing after the new year. And ranked PvP has been moved to the top of Bungie's priority list for next year. That probably doesn't mean it's the number one overall thing that they want to get done, but it's somewhere near the top. Crucible tuning and Sandbox update notes will be coming soon. I know Sandbox stuff was supposed to be talked about. Those notes are coming with Curse of Osiris. Underperforming exotics will be getting buffed, and duplication exotic protection will be added for exotics in the new year. Finally, the most important news for last. Emote interface improvements are still on the way, and they will have updates on the system in the new year. Okay, so that was mostly everything in the update that was news related. We're going to talk thoughts on this now, and we'll basically go in the same order as we just did, starting with Masterwork, but I'm going to give some overall thoughts quickly first. I went into this news update and this state of the game update with basically zero expectations, and that's mainly because I know that Curse of Osiris was not going to be able to greatly address player concerns. Bungie was not going to be able to make sweeping changes to the game or reward economies or anything like that. But the thing I really want Bungie to latch onto and to take to heart is this sentence that they said right here. Quote, "Going forward, Destiny 2's post-launch game systems, features, and updates are being designed specifically to focus on and support players who want Destiny to be their hobby, the game they return to, and a game where friendships are made." End quote. Too often have I felt like the game was being developed for the people who will leave the game the quickest, for the people whose feedback Bungie never hears, and for the one-and-dones. I get that Bungie's gotta sell units, but you gotta keep those invested players' attention as well. Otherwise, you end up with exactly what's been happening. Veteran players, the people who keep the game going, were neglected, and you end up with riots. What the majority of this update is going to do is actually make the game even easier to get stuff, which is probably something that needed addressing the least. But we'll talk about that when we get there. All right, Masterwork system, pretty simple in theory, basically better than a legendary weapon, gives a little stat boost, not random perk rolls like I've been seeing on the internet, not perk rolls, it's a random stat. I don't not like this or anything. I certainly don't think these are going to be very hard to get, at least for, the players ravaging Bungie on Reddit. I like that they're at least trying to put depth somewhere in the game, but this doesn't really have that much depth to it in its current form. Maybe they can evolve it over time. The game's so basic right now, so I'll take whatever I can get. I don't think it's much of a long-term thing unless it's stupidly hard to level them, which it probably won't be, let's face facts. But it does set up a little bit of groundwork. I think this is Bungie's potential short-term answer to getting duplicate weapons, but you can only get Masterwork materials from other Masterwork items, so it doesn't really acknowledge it completely. As it stands now, it seems like it'll just be another thing to make sure your weapon has on it. The same weapons are still going to be good. This is not going to improve bad weapons or anything. That being said, I think the orb effect might be pretty potent if there's no internal cooldown on the effect happening, which is definitely a positive with regards to it affecting gameplay in some way. Next up, ornaments for armor from vendors. I like this, but this is something that I think should have been around from the get-go. We had ornaments back in Rise of Iron and Age of Triumph, and they were pretty cool then, and I was kind of hoping that they would be more prevalent at the launch of the game. The ornament system put in place seems pretty close to what Holtzman and I suggested back in my Iron Banner token video, where you unlock ornaments by ranking up, or in this case, completing objectives. It's a system that shows off the time investment you have put into the game, or a specific activity, or your character, which is something I've been an advocate for since forever. So this whole armor ornament buying system thing is basically what we had in Destiny 1 with Iron Banner, where as you ranked up in Iron Banner, you were able to unlock the ability to buy more items. They've now seemingly applied this to multiple vendors in Destiny 2. And this is something that people have had a massive problem with in Destiny 2, specifically with Iron Banner, where RNG dictated whether or not you got the things that you actually wanted. There wasn't a set path to getting the stuff that you wanted. Now, we have that back. Hooray. But again, I don't know how much I can praise something for going back to the way we used to have it. I guess I can maybe praise Bungie for listening to feedback or realizing the old system was better or something. That's not really saying that much. It's an improvement to Destiny 2 specifically, but it's not an improvement to the history of the game. I mentioned earlier that this update is going to make things even easier to get, and this system is part of why. It is a double-edged sword. Give people a set path and they can just get the stuff pretty quickly if you don't make it a very long grind, but then they run out of things to go do, so they're mad that they don't have anything to do. Or don't give people a set path and they get mad that they're at the mercy of RNG to get the things that they want. You need to have a mix of both. We sort of needed this system to return for better things to maybe happen, so yay, we got back to where we were a few months ago. Here's one thing that actually really confused me, and that's with all the Xur changes. Now, a very long time ago, I actually suggested in Destiny 1 that Xur should sell all of the exotics for a drastically increased price for people looking for their final exotics. And essentially, that is what they have done here. But the reason I suggested it back then was because exotics were just much harder to get, or much more random to get. In Destiny 2, they rain from the sky, and the only things we really needed with the adjustments to exotics are 1, buffs to some of them, which we're getting eventually, and 2, the duplicate drop protection, which we're also getting eventually. The Fated Engram does solve the issue of maybe getting that final exotic that you might need that you just can't get, so I guess that's okay. But 3 of coins returning does not need to happen. I think it makes no sense. On top of the other item that Shaxx and Zavala will be selling. 3 of coins does not need to exist in Destiny 2. I do not like that at all, and it feels like these 2 additions were added to drain shards from the economy and fill Xur's empty UI screen. That's it. I just don't feel like that needed to happen. The mod adjustments, being able to buy specific mods and making mods slightly more consistent to earn, is a good change as the system is right now. If you're anything like me, you're desperate for ARC-related mods, and getting them is an inconsistent slog at best, so I like this change. It's a short-term fix for a current problem. The long-term fix for mods is going to be making them much more interesting, because the system itself, the mod system itself, is boring. Was I expecting them to overhaul the mod system in this update? No. But that's what I'm going to want to hear going into the future. How are you making mods more interesting or more important to gameplay? That's the kind of roadmap I'm looking for, and it's hopefully one Bungie will continue to talk about. Also, one quick thing that I found funny was that they're relaxing the exploit safeguard on chests and materials. I just found it funny that the one exploit I feel like this was supposed to safeguard against, which was the faction token situation with a specific lost sector where people could just farm thousands of tokens doing nothing, it didn't protect against that, an actual exploit, but it protected against just people getting lucky in the wild and finding a few chests and items stacked together. That it did protect against. It's just funny to me. As for the more minor stuff, planetary materials needed a huge buff. They were basically completely worthless, so that's nice. But again, all of these adjustments just make even more loot drop on us, and we don't need more loot. We need more things to do with the loot, or we need the loot to make us feel stronger. Or if you're going to give us more loot, grab the dudes who did Loot 2.0 in Diablo 3 and did all the adjustments to legendaries in Diablo 3 and boot camp with them for a little bit. These are all short-term things that aren't going to affect the major issues people have with the game. You got to start somewhere, though. I get it. And again, not expecting huge changes with Curse of Osiris or these updates. But this kind of communication needs to continue moving forward. Otherwise, we're going to be ranting and raving about the same stuff. We need long-term roadmaps, things like mentioning ranked play is now a priority for the next year. That's what I want to hear about, Bungie. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear about what's going to be happening to the mod system. I want to hear about what's going to be happening with new PvE activities. I want to hear about chat and social system improvements. I want to hear about the stuff that you're going to be doing to keep people more engaged in the day-to-day life of the game, not the 2 hours on Tuesday part of the game. And even then, hearing about stuff isn't enough for people. They're not going to care until it's in-game. And then some people just won't even care at all. The earliest I think we're going to see any sort of huge system revamps, if any, is spring 2018 for DLC 2 or fall 2018 for whatever the Taken King style expansion ends up being. So, in closing, these changes do help some short-term issues that people have, but the long-term changes are what we care about the most. So until we start learning more, I will stick with my same cautious optimism attitude that I usually stick with. I don't think these changes make the game worse in any way. The quality of the game isn't going to go down as a result of these changes, but it's not skyrocketing up the charts either. Waiting sucks, but it's all we can do right now. Most of the changes aren't bad or anything, but much like the Curse of Osiris expansion itself, it's maybe not what we needed right now. It sets up the groundwork for the future. Should Destiny 1 have been the groundwork for the future? Yeah, it should have. And it's obvious by this update that we're basically reverting back to a bunch of Destiny 1 systems in certain ways. It's a start. But what are you gonna do? We just gotta wait some more. Oh, I'm just getting tired of the waiting. A positive rating is appreciated if you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.